going to be out there working to make him the next mayor. We need it. So change is on the way, and it starts now.
We're back on the road to City Hall. That was my first guest announcing her union's backing of John Liu in the race for mayor. The endorsement by one of the city's largest municipal unions surprised some because of Liu's relatively weak showing in recent polls. Joining me now to talk about the endorsement and her union's lack of a new contract with the city, we've got Lillian Roberts, the executive director of District Council 37. Thanks for coming in. Always very good to see you.
Well, I'm very happy you invited me here.
Oh, of course. Well, you know, you guys are big players in all of this. Mm-hmm. What made you decide to pick John Liu? Because in the polls, he's usually ranking fourth in all of the standings, maybe even lower down with Anthony Weiner in the race. Do you think he has a good chance of winning?
Of course he does. Of course he does. First of all, I don't believe in the polls. The last election taught us something, and that the polls was way off the mark. The mayor was supposed to run away with the election, and we continue to work. We are the polls, and nobody in my union had been asked anything. Mm-hmm. And of course, you got the cell phones that impacts on the polling. And so all we want to do is get the right man in the right job so we get some relief.
Now, what you're talking about 4 years ago when people had counted out Bill Thompson, you were one of his more important endorsements.
Absolutely.
DC-37 supported him against a sitting mayor, which
Absolutely.
took some courage,
Mm-hmm.
Which of course raises the question, why not back him again this time?
Well, that was then, and this is now. And I would say the Controller Liu, who knows where all the bodies are, has been outstanding. We went to him with all of our problems, and he looked at them, he gave us a fair assessment, and the results was that out of 2 city contracts that was into the billions of dollars, we received over $500 million out of one. Mm-hmm. And the second one, he has proposed $163 billion. And so he's been looking at these things, bringing the money back to the city, and therefore bringing the jobs back, because there has been sort of disrespect for civil service. We had people in the city at a time of high unemployment that could do these jobs, and they wouldn't consider. Mm-hmm. It's just been a whole oversight in terms of people living in the city. We've got to bring that back home. And whoever had the courage to do that is who we was for.
But now, let's say John Liu becomes mayor. Doesn't his role then necessarily change? I mean, if he goes from being the controller, somebody who goes and finds waste or other problems and brings money back to the budget, to being the mayor who has to say no, who has to take the punch bowl away, who has to order cuts, who has to hold the line on spending, wouldn't that would certainly change your relationship with him, right?
Well, first of all, we are a union that does a lot of research. He does a lot of research. If he told us that something was not there, we would research it. If it wasn't there, then we have to be responsible. Mm-hmm. But we know it's there. Anytime that you can bring back that kind of money, and it costs us jobs and costs the community services, we know we can work with him and we can negotiate with him.
When outsiders, by outsiders I mean people who are skeptical about unions, when they look at the race and the way it's shaping up, there's been a lot of writing about this, a lot of editorial, a lot of hand-wringing by some prominent voices saying you don't want the unions to pick the person who's going to be across the table from them when they sit down to negotiate the next contracts. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, they have to realize that in public service union, we work with the communities. When we laid off, we are part of the community. And what we've been successful in doing is galvanizing about 16 different community organizations that feel the way we do. We've been totally left out of it. The homeless, the hungry, the people been told disrespect. And of course, jobs as well. And we think that he's capable of doing that. He has a 65-point program. He has been the kind of person that says what he means. He's thought out all the problems, and we're going to give it a shot.
Okay, you're going to give it a shot.
Absolutely.
The 2009 race, you endorsed Thompson for mayor, Liu for controller, and Bill de Blasio for public advocate. So I guess 2 of the 3 were going to be disappointed one way or another, right? Did you consider just sitting it out because these are all candidates that you've worked for in the past?
No, we'll never sit it out. It has too much of an impact. We had a mayoral forum, we had a screening committee, and we had our delegates. And in our delegate meeting last night, it was overwhelming. People were giving their speeches about the things that had happened to them, and they were helped by Controller Lou, and they wanted him desperately. It was very moving to hear them talk about it.
Okay, very good. So the form that your help will take is what? This is troops on the ground. This is contributions.
This is troops on the ground, and we have limited contributions because of the law, and we stay within the law. Passing out leaflets, telephone, people on the street, everywhere. We're going to be like him. He's been everywhere, and everybody knows him.
Well, I've been to your rallies, and everybody knows you and your folks. When there's a river of green on election day,
that's right.
That must be
it's going to be greener than ever.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much for coming in tonight. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break now. Still to come, Democrat Eric Salgado will tell us why he is running for mayor in a crowded field against better known and better funded opponents. Also tonight, Bernard Kerik is out of federal prison. We'll ask Curtis Sliwa and Person Barrero about the release of the former police commissioner when we get to the political rundown. That is straight ahead. Stay with us.